I have been teaching math for the past 20 plus years. When we actually solve equations, we are actually training ourselves to think in a very logical manner. For students, I will usually recommend that they start off with the topical addition of the 10-year series, okay, to master it topic by topic. I take great pride in writing the step-by-step solutions and the thinking process very clearly. I also included diagrams that will help us to actually solve the question faster and easier. Hi, I'm Ai Ling. I have been teaching math for the past 20 plus years. I started giving math tuition to earn extra pocket money while I was studying chemical engineering in NUS. My very first student was a P5 girl who was actually struggling in math, and after a few months of lessons, we finally start to see improvement in the results. Amazing. I can still remember vividly up to today, every time when she actually say, "Oh, so it's like that," I can finally understand. That gives me a lot of satisfaction. And her mom actually introduced a lot of her relatives to me, so much so that all my availability was booked. I particularly enjoy teaching math for secondary school students in the subject of additional math. I think many students, right, they are not aware of the underlying skills that math actually train us. When we actually solve equations, we are actually training ourselves to think in a very logical manner in order for us to present the steps clearly to solve the problem. Now, in every job that we do, aren't we also solving one problem after another? So in math itself, when we have an equation or problem to solve, we first need to analyze the problem before we decide which is the best method to use. And this is exactly how we actually solve any problems that we face. For example, a baker who actually needs to know how to do conversion and estimation. As a shopper, we need to know which shops actually provide the greater value. And many times, a lot of students might think that I'm not going to be learning things related to math, working in math-related industry. I can give you a very contrasting example. For example, as a dance choreographer, before you actually design your moves, you need to calculate the space that you need to have. So all these are related to math. And as a student, you need to justify to your parents why you need to have an increase in pocket money, isn't it? So that is the reason why math is actually so important, and it is in everyday life that we are having. Many students actually find that math is challenging and meaningless. They do not see the association with everyday life. And they also find that there are a lot of things that they need to remember. While it is true that there are formulas that need to remember, but there are also ways that we can actually understand the formula instead of just relying on just memory work. So I think it all comes down to the way that they learn mathematics and how the subject is actually being taught to them. Math can actually come alive, like I mentioned earlier, like it is related to a lot of things that we see around us. So first of all, I do not expect my students to remember formula by heart. So there are some formulas we can actually understand it first before they actually remember. So that will help them to actually associate better and retain the formula longer. Another way that I do is I create analogies. Like for example, in the topic of logarithm in additional math, I create a system and story to actually help them to solve logarithm equations. This will help them to actually reframe their mind away from the algebra, the way that they are being taught. Another challenge that students face comes into sketching of graph. They tend to actually just memorize by heart without having an easy way to know. One way is I actually associate to sketching of exponential graph. The graph itself can be actually found on our palm. So this is like a hack for them in exam, whereby they can actually refer to their palm to actually sketch the general shape of this graph. And for questions, I also tend to provide alternative method as a form of double checking and as an alternative for students to choose which method is actually better for them. So these are the different ways that actually help my students to actually overcome these challenges. I think it will strengthen our belief that as long as we work hard and smart, we can actually achieve what we want to have. So math has been perceived by many as a hard subject, but if you actually have a proper system and guidance, you can do equally well. And by doing well in exams, it will boost the students' confidence. And I think more importantly, right, at the end of the day, by having good grades, it allows us to have more option, the freedom to choose which course you want to go into, which school you want to go into. So I think that is ultimately why that is so important to actually do well. For O-level preparation, right, in fact, it starts from Sec 3 because the O-level exam is based on the Sec 3 and Sec 4 syllabus. So for students, I will usually recommend that they start off with the topical edition of the 10-year series, okay, to master it topic by topic. And then after they finish the syllabus in their Sec 4 around first part of the year, then they can move on to the yearly edition. And this is actually for them to actually train on their time management. After all, knowing is one thing, but completing within the time is another thing. So the two editions of the 10-year series will work hand in hand to give them a comprehensive revision for their O-level exam. Being the 10-year series author for SAP O-Level Additional Mathematics and Mathematics for the past 10 plus years, I take great pride in writing the step-by-step solutions and the thinking process very clearly. The aim is to actually provide a clear presentation so that it's a very useful resource for students. If they actually got the questions wrong, they can actually refer to it and see which step didn't go right for them. And on top of the step-by-step solution, I included the thinking process so that they can understand the rationale behind every step in the solution. This will help them to actually deepen their understanding of the concept. For some questions, I also included diagrams that will help us to actually solve the question faster and easier. Common mistakes are also included to help students to avoid the common pitfall. There is also something very unique that I included, that is the alternative method to questions. This will allow students to actually choose which method will work best for them, and at the same time to give them a different perspective on how a question can be solved differently, so that they can have a much clearer understanding of the concept as well. So all in all, the additional features that is provided in the books itself will give them a very comprehensive revision, a very comprehensive guide for their O-level preparation. Just like if you want to master any skill, start the preparation early and be consistent. So students can start off by practicing on the topical 10-year series. That will help them to boost their confidence. And to rehearse for the actual O-level exam, I think they can use the yearly 10-year series so that will help them to manage the time. And also, the questions in the 10-year series are actually quite a good gauge of what to expect in the exam. If they actually have extra time after doing all this, there is actually a trick that they can actually work on by helping out their friends. So by helping out their friends, they will be able to see what is their own strength and weakness. That will also help them to actually get more ready for the O-level exam. To pass mathematics with distinction, go to sapgrp.com to order the SAP O-Level Additional Maths and Mathematics 10-year series today. Or you can visit any bookstores to purchase your copy. All the best for your exams.